Hello Virgo, I hope you're doing well. Virgo, I'm going to have to keep this short and sweet because I am rapidly losing the light. It is almost past 4 o'clock here in the UK now, so I'm going to have to just jump right into it. But Virgo, there is no dates on these readings anymore, so if the message finds you at any point in time, then that's fine. Energies can be reversed, and also please don't try and make the message fit to your storyline, Virgo. You know, if you find that there is a lot of things that you are resonating with, then that's great. I hope that you find something in here for you, but please don't try and force the message to fit, because then you can get some misinformation, which we don't want any of that. So Virgo, you have to excuse me as well, my house is really full today, so if you hear other sounds going on, then it's just the other people that I live with. So, oh, really? Taking your time just like the other signs, Virgo. I like that. We'll get a specific message if the cards take their time. Oh, there we go. It begins. Ooh, Otter. Oh, I love this card. Do you know, I have never ever had Otter come out for a personal reading for me, or for any of the readings that I've done for any of these signs yet. So this is the first time the Otter's ever made an appearance for you, Virgo. So Virgo, this isn't in your element, obviously, because otters, you know, are connected to the water. But there's something very innocent about the otter medicine, you know, in shamanism, in Native American mythology. You know, otters, they're all about sort of bonding through family, like family ties, innocence, a sweetness. It's very cute, it's very endearing, it's a very soft energy, which doesn't surprise me, Virgo, because if this is you, you know, you are the virginal goddess or god. But there's something very just innocent, very laid back about your energy, Virgo. And you know, even now I can see like my voice just kind of wants to become a lot quieter. It kind of wants to just appear a lot more relaxed, a lot more tepid is the word, I guess. It's almost like you're in a very receptive state, Virgo. It's like you're lying and waiting for something. If we see the sort of position that the otter's taking on the rocks, it's like lying and waiting for news, maybe? Lying and waiting for information on how to take the next steps forward, maybe, in something. But there's something very laid back and just very, you're looking at everything through a lens that's just very innocent right now. You're just kind of like, it's not phasing you too much, nothing's kind of stressing you out too much. You're quite relaxed about everything, quite laid back. You're in quite a peaceful stance, I want to say. Quite a peaceful stance. So I'm going to leave that there, and we're going to go straight on to the fairies. That kind of happened with, who was it? It's the last one I did. Leo. Yeah, I didn't spend too long on the animal, which usually I do. I usually spend most of the time on the animal. And then the fairies are kind of like, you know, just kind of add to the message. The feline. Okay, so this is interesting, Virgo, because the feline's talking about tying up loose ends. And you know that I was saying something about you're waiting for something. You're in kind of like a receptive state where you're not necessarily taking any action. You might literally be waiting for somebody else to kind of sort out things on their end, on their side of the situation, however that may apply, because, you know, these energies are very, very different. I'm sorry that my camera doesn't focus as well, Virgo. These energies are very different in the sense of this one's, you know, laid back, its whole posture is quite relaxed, but this posture here is very, very tense. You know, it's hunched over, it's moving in a direction, whereas the otter is still standing still. And even the way that these cards have kind of come out, you can see how the otter is looking at the feline here. So it's almost like you're waiting for this individual here to sort out what they need to on their end to get their business in order. I'm hearing like to get their gears in order, but what does that mean? It's like you're waiting for this person to take an action of some description to clean up any baggage or any crap that's kind of trailing behind them. It doesn't involve you, it feels separate from you, it doesn't feel like it's anything to do with you, but this person who has all these attachments to them, they're involved with you in some description, okay? So this could be romantic or it could be platonic, it could be a business situation, take it however it applies. But this person needs to get their things in order. I'm just seeing like somebody kind of like shuffling through a lot of paperwork, which might not be literal, by the way. They might not actually have a lot of paperwork that they need to do, but it might just be symbolic of the sense of there's a lot of affairs. I don't mean an affair, just so you don't freak out. But this person needs to get their affairs in order in the sense of they can't put too much attention on you right now, Virgo, because they're too hunched over with dealing with this, whatever it is on their side of the situation. You'll know what that is. And you're a little bit anxious, Virgo, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. It's like you're a little bit anxious because you're anxiously waiting, like, will this person sort out what they need to sort out? Will they resolve the things that they need to resolve so that, we can join forces, we can come together in one way or another? So you're a little bit anxious, anxiously waiting for their return, anxiously waiting for them to be free from something. Interesting, Virgo. What are you getting yourself involved in? So, Virgo, get another card. I'm sorry that I'm quiet today, by the way. It's just because there's a lot of people in the house, so I'm just conscious of them, making too much noise and them hearing everything. So that's why I'm a little bit quiet today, Virgo. If you watch me in my other videos, I'm just like super, super loud. Yeah, okay, so what was I saying before about you being anxious or worried, Virgo? This is the card of self-created fears, okay? They're fears that aren't based in reality, they're just fears that are brought to the surface because we're overthinking, because we have some insecurity around the situation. So you're definitely insecure about something that's going on here, Virgo. You're insecure, but you're not letting it show, you're not letting it come to the surface because the otter seems so relaxed and so poised. The otter is such a graceful animal. When you see it like swimming through the water, it just glides, it just moves freely. So even though you're not from the water element, Virgo, you are mutable earth, so you're very easily able to take on many different kinds of energies and feel comfortable in them, because you're mutable, you can change. So, as I was saying, it's like at the surface you can't actually see that you're worried or anxious, or that you might have some. This is like the Nine of Swords in the tarot. It's self-created fears, as I was saying, that keep you up at night, or that are constantly running a dialogue in the back of your brain that's kind of, causing you anxiety or a little bit of upset. And it's obviously to do with this person here, this feline, whoever this feline represents for you, or whatever this represents for you, because this might not be a person, Virgo. This could be, a situation that you're waiting to resolve. For example, like, just to throw an example out there so you guys can try and like see where it might fit in a different area of life. But waiting for debts to be tied up, for a divorce to go through, a contract to go through, something like that, or just waiting for someone to sort things on their side of the situation if it is a relationship. But there's something that you are anxious about and a little bit paranoid, but you're not letting it necessarily come to the surface. It's almost like you see how Giobbe is like this with his hands. It's like, nope, And this is interesting actually, Virgo, because I was reading a little bit about you today, and one of the things that I was reading is like a Virgoan feels a lot, but they don't necessarily show it. And that's why sometimes people can see Virgos as a little bit cold or emotionally detached, because you don't necessarily allow your emotions to come to the surface to be expressed. Okay, you kind of keep them under the water as such. So it's almost like any time that you're feeling, you know, nervous or paranoid, you're like, nope. So I actually think that's more saying, Virgo, that on your end you're doing a really good job of not letting it overcome you. You're doing a good job of not letting it dominate your everyday, even though you might still be feeling it. You're, you know, you're conscious of it, you're aware of it, and yes, it is causing you stress and anxiety, but you're not allowing that to affect you in your everyday life. You're not allowing it to come or creep in too much as you go along with your sort of daily activities, if you will. So that's really good, Virgo. That's a very balanced stance to take. You know, you're receptive, you're waiting. The Otter, you know, you're kind of in the flow. You're just kind of letting the chips fall however they may be. It's a very mature energy, actually. It's a very mature way of dealing with something. You know, you're not just moving straight from your primal gut instincts. You're taking a very methodical and logical stance to it, which is very Virgoan, so it doesn't surprise me. So let's get some more, please. Far too many. That was like literally half of the deck. Okay. Just one, please. Just one. Yeah, I do want to say, Virgo, that it's in a very evolved approach to take, sorry. It's very evolved. It's very wise, you know, and like I was saying, it's very mature. You're not acting from a place of instinct or impulse. You're letting the cards fall how they will, and you're just kind of accepting that. Okay, so now we have Faf the Footer. So Faf the Footer is all about grounding something. It's about taking the electrical charge in the air and grounding it into the earth. So this is kind of symbolic of taking something that's within the cerebral realm, the mind space, you know, our thoughts, our conclusions on things, communication even, ideas, and then grounding it into the physical. And what was I saying before, Virgo, about you being a mutable sign? So you very easily can switch and swap between the different elements. So I do want to kind of go back to this feline energy over here now. So it's almost like, Virgo, you're waiting for something to be grounded in reality, because at the minute it's kind of in the mind space. It's kind of an idea, it's a desire that kind of lights up your mind. It gets you excited when you think about it, this is why it's kind of making me think perhaps this is sort of a romantic situation, maybe. You know, I don't specifically deal in love readings because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there on YouTube with readers giving false information around love and relationships through card readings. So I have to be very, very careful, and I want to be very, very careful when saying that. But it is that kind of vibe. It's kind of like you've met someone, you've expressed interest to each other, but this person has a lot of baggage that they have to sort out, or a lot of things that they have to finish and tie up, as I was saying before. So at the minute, it's still up here, you know. It's still in the mind space. It's an idea, or it's a vision, or it's a hope of yours, Virgo. Maybe a hope of the both of you. Does that feel right? Yeah, it's like, it's almost like this person wants to give you more time than they're able to, Virgo. They want to give you more time than they're able to, but there's just so much that they need to just sort within their immediate vicinity right now, or they need to deal with right now, that you've kind of taken the back burner a little bit. But you're taking a very mature stance about this, Virgo. That's what I was saying. You know, it's a very wise stance. You're not necessarily resentful towards this person because of it. You're not blaming them for it. You have some, you know, anxious fears and worries, obviously. You know, they were in personal emotions, but you're not immature, like I was saying. You're not being resentful of this person. You're being very understanding where they're coming from, and you're understanding that they've got a lot on their plate right now. They've got a lot that they need to sort out. So you're hoping for this, Virgo. This is the energy that you're kind of hoping that it's going to move towards. You're hoping that it's going to kind of come out of this mind space, you know, maybe thinking about it, the opportunity, if it's not a romantic situation, you know, thinking about the opportunity, perhaps, you know, this, just to give you an example of how broad this could be, you know, another example could be, Virgo, you put a deposit down on a house and, you know, you guys are waiting for it all to go through, all the paperwork, you know, you're dreaming about this home, this new home, you know, where you're going to settle down roots, because remember, the Otter is all about home and family and innocence. But you have anxious fears and worries that, you know, something's going to go wrong with the paperwork, perhaps because of everything going on in the world right now, and you're worried that it's not necessarily going to go through as smoothly as you're hoping it to. So, excuse me if you can hear some people talking, that's my housemates, some of them just came upstairs. So, I do feel like this is a good place for you to be, Virgo, you know. You're not necessarily drowning in your emotions of fear or anything like that, but you are hopeful that something's going to ground, something's going to move now. You're going to see some progress soon. You're going to see something come into the physical, something that is tangible, something that you can actually move forward with. That's what you're hoping for right now. So I kind of want to get some clarification on that specific card to see if there's anything that I can get you hopeful for, or any advice maybe. Virgo. Oh, do you know what? This is so positive, Virgo. I actually can't even say that there's anything negative in this reading, because we just had Gotcha, and then we just had Gloominous Doom, but Gloominous Doom came out reversed. So the Gotcha card is all about surprises. It's about hidden things, that which we cannot see coming. You know, this can be a good and a negative surprise, but in this case I can tell you now it's a positive surprise, because we had Gloominous Doom, which is the card of depression, heavy weightedness, you know, just lethargic feeling, you know, feeling low, down in dumps. But it came at reverse, which means that energy is completely flipped. Okay, so you don't actually need to worry, Virgo, genuinely, because these are the cards that are clarifying this Faf the Footer here. There's going to be some sort of turn of events, a turn in the tide, if you will, that you're not necessarily going to see coming. It's kind of just like one day you're going to wake up and it's all going to be sorted. It's like I can't give you a specific time frame or a specific date or a specific example of how it will sort itself out, but it's just like kind of one day you wake up and it's like, oh, it's all sorted. I didn't actually need to worry about it. Because if this was upright, then I would tell you that, you know, maybe buckle in your seatbelts, Virgo, you know, you might be in for a bit of a bumpy ride. But with it reversed, honestly, I can't see anything in this reading that's actually negative. So, Virgo, I would just say keep doing what you're doing, keep in that receptive state, keep in a very passive state. I wouldn't suggest necessarily to take too much action right now. You know, I think the stance that you are taking is the best one for you, and probably the one that is going to result in the most favourable outcome. So, you know, keep manifesting it almost, I want to say. Keep positively thinking about it, because you are sending out, you know, this little, it's like you're sending out these little beams, these little shockwaves into the universe. You know, this is what I want, this is how I want it to go, you know. You're the creator of your own reality. We all are. So keep thinking about it in a positive light. Keep manifesting it. Keep in a passive and receptive stance. And I do want to say, just kind of trust that this will resolve itself in its own time. This has its own natural time frame. It has its own natural cycle that it needs to go through, that it needs to live out. But like I was saying before, it's kind of like one day you just kind of wake up and it's like, you know, maybe those thoughts of fear and paranoia that maybe were getting you down a little bit. Maybe it got to that point, you know, if we're talking about the future, you know, maybe it will get to that point where you're kind of just feeling a little bit low and you're like, God, is it ever going to move? Am I ever going to see any kind of movement in this? Maybe when you kind of get to that point where you feel like someone's burst your bubble a little bit, your little bubble of happiness. And I say that now because, do you know what I just got reminded of? I got reminded of, you know, otters? Have you ever seen those videos online where otters have like their favourite rock that they keep in their little pouch under their armpit, and it like makes them so happy and they're sat there playing with it? It's like that feline energy. It's like your little bubble. It's the thing that brings you joy, it brings you happiness, or it will bring you joy and happiness, or that's what you're imagining it will bring you. And it's like, you might kind of get to a point where you kind of feel like someone's burst your bubble a little bit, but then it's like, boom, gotcha comes. And it's like, it just kind of all sorts itself out. Everything kind of gets tied up, all the loose ends get tied up, and it's almost like the universe ties it in a pretty little bow, and then it passes it over to you and go, there you go, Virgo. That's what you get for being so goddamn patient. So Virgo, I hope that made sense to somebody out there. It doesn't surprise me that you're taking this stance, Virgo. You are very patient, very modest, very gentle energy when you want to be. You can definitely draw on that well of resources that you have. Virgo, I am sorry that I had to keep it very kind of low energy today. As I was saying, there is a lot of people in my house right now, so I'm just very conscious of noise and that because the walls are very, very thin in here. So hopefully the next time I do a video, I can be as exuberant and hyperactive as I was for the other signs. But nonetheless, Virgo, I really hope that you found something in there for you, and if you didn't, don't be discouraged because hopefully something will be in the next video for you. But Virgo, please take care, stay safe, and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Okay, have a great day, Virgo. Mwah.